And I'm going to give a little background on the gentleman that I'm about to bring on. So John Bargerstock is physician's assistant. He has a research background at Baylor College of Medicine in the molecular genetics department. He worked there for 10 years. So I love the fact that the person that is going through and helping us learn about the product was at Baylor College doing this thing, research for 10 years. Okay, so he's also a 30-year military veteran. He spent some of that time in the medical arena. 20 years, he's been a practicing physician's assistant. I think the key to that, though, is the last 10 years, his focus has been in wellness alternatives to pharmaceuticals, which means the nutraceutical field, which is what we are. Okay, so not only, physician assistants are very knowledgeable, but we're talking to somebody that this is their area of expertise. And so I am really excited to bring on John Bargerstock, physician assistant, to help us. And we're gonna kind of go back and forth and ask some questions, and definitely feel free to put those in the chat as well. So how are you doing today, John?
Great. How can you hear me okay?
Perfect. Yep, we hear you perfect.
Great. Well, thanks for having me on as usual. This is a part of the presentation that I like to have fun with, and answer some questions for folks, and just basically cover what this product is able to do for us. So I know you've got some potential questions lined up for me. So anytime you're ready to start, let's get the show going.
Okay, very cool. So we'll start with something just a little out of the box, since every other time we've done this, we haven't actually been using the products for very long, and now this is one of the first times we have. So I had a question. Will, over time using this product, is it possible that the effectiveness will go down because you will have used it for a while and your body will have gotten used to it?
Yeah, that's a very valid question. We, as medical providers, we contend with that often. People start to become a little bit numb to certain medications, or they build up a tolerance per se. But generally, those tolerances to pharmaceuticals come after years and years and years, and significantly high doses of a particular medication. Nutraceuticals are a little bit different. There's no research out there that I've run across that talks about, building up a tolerance to a nutraceutical. Sorry about that phone. Particularly with our products, I've dug and dug and dug to try to find something about MitoPrime, and people building up tolerance. I just haven't found it out there. One of the other ingredients in a couple of our products is vitamin B12, and interestingly about vitamin B12, we can take large amounts of vitamin B12 and not have it become toxic, and certainly not build up any tolerance to that. And the reason for this is a lot of these vitamins and minerals and natural ingredients already exist in our body, and if our bodies naturally have that in there, then it makes sense that we wouldn't necessarily build up a tolerance to that. Our liver stores vitamin B12 up to years and years, and actually the human body can last for years and years without vitamin B12, but certainly we don't want to put it to that challenge, because vitamin B12 is not only important to our immune system, but also important to our neurological system. So, but yes, we don't know of any studies out there that show that we build up a tolerance to this, so that the product over time becomes less effective.
Awesome. Very cool. Will you elaborate a little bit on inflammation? So it talks about this is anti-inflammatory. What does inflammation do to the body? So why is that have such a big impact?
Yeah, and I love talking about inflammation, because it truly is the bane of our disease processes. MitoPrime, probably to me, that's probably the biggest thing that MitoPrime does. Certainly there's a number of things that it does, and we'll get into that here shortly. But inflammation is in 95% of the cases, inflammation is the start of a disease process. For those of you that have heard me talk about this before, inflammation is a good thing. We like inflammation. It's the way our body protects itself. If you fall and bang up your knee, it gets swollen, and that's the body's way to create a cushion around the injured part of the area. So swelling is good. Getting in all of these growth factors from the bloodstream coming into this area to repair something that's going bad, in this case inflammation, is a good thing. Now, if this continues over time, Then we develop something, that's referred to as a chronic disease process, and that's when bad things start occurring. If there's enough inflammation that the body can't handle, and over time, it gets to that point. Oftentimes, inflammation surfaces as pain. Take arthritis, take bursitis, gastritis. That's an upset stomach. All of these things, eventually, the brain interprets inflammation as pain, and so if we can address that inflammation, we address the process that's going on. And we talk about in the wellness industry something that's a very powerful antioxidant, or sorry, anti-inflammatory out there, called glutathione. People come to wellness clinics all the time just for that, and they'll pay good money for a glutathione injection. Well, what we know and what was covered earlier is that MitoPrime, or aka ergothioneine, is as much as 30 times more powerful than glutathione. That's crazy. I've never seen that. But as another example, I gave a patient Friday three samples of the Your Vitality, which, for you guys who don't know, that's the one product that contains the highest amount of MitoPrime out of all of our 4 products. It's about 30 milligrams. He had some neuropathy in his fingers, and he kept noticing tingling in his fingers in both hands. And, I asked him about that, and he told me that he had been diagnosed with mild carpal tunnel syndrome, several years ago. And he's constantly just, burdened by this numbing effect. And if any of you ever had that, it's something that you really can't ignore. And if it goes, untreated over time, that nerve then becomes damaged. And the reason we get that numbness in our fingers is because the nerve isn't either healthy, or it's not getting good blood flow to it. So I gave him 3 of the Your Vitalities, and I got a phone call this morning from his wife asking me, to tell her a little bit more about this product. And I gave her, I basically created a link from the Field of Dreams, the back office, and sent her a link, and she ordered the product right there. She didn't care how much it was, because his numbness in his hands improved just in 3 days. So, and that's mainly due to inflammation and an unhealthy nerve. So again, another testimonial out there that shows that, this product delivers some benefits, and everybody's going to have a little bit of a different experience, just depending on what it is that's ailing you. And, the number of things that MitoPrime is able to do is just amazing. And I so far have run into very little that I don't think this would help.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome. Gut health is a big thing that's talked about right now. That's a popular topic. What MitoPrime or products, how could that help or affect gut health?
Yep. So, again, it kind of boils down to an inflammatory process that can occur inside of the gut lining. Interestingly, our gut health is extremely important for our immune system. If you dig into gut health, you'll see that there are a lot of experts out there that deal specifically with gut health, that talk about how our gut health our gut is really our true brain. Our gut actually influences the chemicals that are released in the brain that kind of dictate what we do. So it's pretty interesting when you dive into that. But the gut also has bacteria in it. A lot of that bacteria is healthy bacteria, and we already know that that some of those gut bacteria actually release ergothioneine. But again, if you can help your gut maintain that healthy bacteria with eating clean and providing the body all the necessary tools that it needs, and I'm talking about the proper vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, ergothioneine or MitoPrime, no different. You're going to help maintain that proper gut health. You're going to help maintain those bacteria that are the good, healthy bacteria. Yes, we have good bacteria in our system that's necessary. And that's, again, a big key to our health. A healthy gut will absorb, the proper amount of vitamins and minerals and nutrients, and that's what your body needs. And if the gut isn't healthy, you're not going to get those absorbed. You're certainly not going to absorb as much of these products as you probably should or could. And, that's just going to give your body a better chance to do what it's intended to do, which is to keep you healthy.
Awesome. One specific question is there a specific order or time of day? So if let's say you're taking all 4 products or 3 products to get the maximum effectiveness.
Well, no, there's not. Assuming most people sleep at night and are up during the day, I take the Your Vitality in the morning, try to give my body that jump start that it needs. You've fasted for 8 to 10 or 12 hours. If for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, not having anything to eat in your system. So the fact that the Your Vitality is a water soluble product also means that you're going to absorb 99 to 100% of that because it is water soluble. Something that's water soluble is very easily absorbed into the intestinal system. Things that are considered fat soluble, you often have to take with food or at night when the digestive system is moving its slowest. You want the body to have that ability to absorb that. But I take pretty much everything with these products, with the exception of the slumber party, sleeping aid product. Of course, I take that at night. But in terms of the Your Physique Enhancer, the energy booster, the energy booster can be taken prior to a workout. I will caution people that there's a lot of vitamin B12 in that product, and for a lot of people that can interrupt their sleep. So I would avoid taking that too late at night. For those of you that work out in the evening or late in the evening, I certainly would probably steer away from taking that product that late. So, shift your workout routine to earlier in the day, or, take the product earlier. You don't have to take it right before you work out because that's going to stay in your system for quite a while. And then of course the Your Slumber Party, obviously you're going to take that at night because that's how it's intended to work, or before you go to sleep. I have to caution, morning time and nighttime because a lot of the patients I work with do shift work and their morning time is right now and their nighttime is this morning. So I try to be careful how I word those things. But yeah, you're going to want to take the Your Vitality in the morning, sleep aid at night, energy booster, not too late in the day because of the amount of B12 that's in that.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to hit some of the questions that came up in the chat here. I was asking some specific things. So does it help with, one thing was asthma, the other one was eczema. I'm going to just knock both of those out. Totally different.
Let's start with eczema. Generally that's a lot of these skin conditions. Some of them are autoimmune, some of them aren't. Eczema, again, is, can be certainly related to inflammation on the surface of the skin. Eczema is kind of tricky. I can't promise you that you're going to see a response from that. Maybe we have some folks that have already tried taking that and have seen a response. And if so, please share that experience with us. But again, it all boils back down to, 95% of the disease processes that we know of start from some type of inflammatory response that gets out of control. I don't believe eczema is much different. I'm certainly not a dermatologist by training, but again, there's a lot of inflammation usually associated with eczema, psoriasis, cellulitis, dermatitis. Any of those skin conditions often have a significant feature involving inflammation. So, to say the least, you're probably going to see some relief of the inflammation, and you're going to see improvement in that condition based on that alone.
Okay,
now I understand that, maybe one day we may have a skincare line or some skincare products. I hope to see that down the road. And if so, I'm convinced that we're going to see things like that, those types of skin conditions. We're probably going to see some pretty amazing results because those are things that we can see. And those are things that are easy to share by, showing before and after pictures. It's hard to show somebody that your arthritis is better, but certainly skin conditions are something that we can all, actually objectively see. So I'm looking forward to when that day comes. But I would, tell that person, try the product. We've even had people with another company I was in that had a pretty powerful antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. They would take some of the products and make a paste and actually apply it to the surface of the skin. And they actually saw some improvements in that. So, I know that's not the way the product's intended to be used, but we've had some creative minds out there do some creative things with the products. And maybe something to consider. You know, it might turn your skin purple or taste like grape, but something to consider, at least for now, until we do get a skincare line.
That's awesome.
Oh, the asthma. Let's get back to the asthma. You know, that's a tricky one too. You know, generally, asthma is due to something that's aggravating the airways that can trigger a spasm of those airways, and that's when we run into difficulty with the breathing. And you know, the medications that people are placed on called bronchodilators open up the airways and allow us to get, you know, good airflow back into that system. That's often related to an inflammatory response by the body. That's something that triggers that. So asthma is a little tricky because there are some triggering things that might exacerbate that for those folks. I'm not saying, you know, replace your inhaler with you know, any of these products. Certainly keep it by you, keep it handy. But again, because it is a big inflammatory response, I can only imagine that this would help that, certainly support making that less severe, less chronic, and maybe require less use of that inhaler.
Very cool. Well, Chris just wanted to pass on, when he sees you Thursday, he's going to bring some great paste for you that you're talking about. That's so fun to think about.
Well, I may be into it. I might have to make my own.
Make some great paste. One other question for specific was people with thyroid issues.
Oh yeah, thyroid's a big one that I deal with in my clinic often. You know, thyroid disease, there's some autoimmune varieties of thyroid disease. Those are difficult to manage. You know, try to get somebody's thyroid under control with medications. You're chasing your tail constantly with some of those conditions. Normally, you know, the thyroid gland underperforms, or your body is unable to utilize one of the initial thyroid hormones that's created from the thyroid gland itself. I wouldn't say that that's often an inflammatory reaction. It's generally due to lack of enough of that hormone being produced. However, you know, there are some conditions of the thyroid called thyroiditis. Hashimoto's is one of those. And again, that's kind of an overreaction of the thyroid gland producing either too much or not enough of thyroxine, which is T4. So again, you know, if it's thyroiditis that you battle with, certainly getting some MitoPrime on board may be something that would quieten that down or allow your body to keep a better control of what your thyroid gland is doing. So that's a tough one because it's hormonal in nature. But you know, again, if you give the body the right tools that it needs to be healthy, you know, who's to say that Hashimoto's won't quieten down or your thyroid gland doesn't start to produce more efficiently. And so that's kind of what we look for. You know, wellness is a vague word. Wellness can be influenced by a number of things. And again, you know, if you're giving your body all the necessary tools that it needs, it's going to be well and it's going to do good things for you. So these are tools that we have available. I encourage anybody to take, you know, these products for something that may ail you. And again, if you're uncertain about that, you know, pose the question to the group, or, you know, Tuesday night when we get on here, and we'll try to answer that for you. If I can't answer it, you know, off the cuff, you know, I'll dig in and do a little research for you and see if I can find an answer.
One question that I get a lot is like a specific. So someone, for example, today a customer takes Xarelto, a blood thinner. So if someone says, I take a blood thinner, can I take your product?
Yeah,
absolutely. My answer is talk to your doctor, you know, if I don't know, but yeah, will you just elaborate a little on that?
Yeah, blood thinners, you know, blood thinners just interfere with the clotting cascade. There's nothing at all in our products that are going to interfere with that clotting cascade. And again, we know of nothing that this product interacts with in terms of typical pharmaceuticals. So yeah, this should not at all interfere with your clotting cascade or the blood thinners that you're going to be on. It's not going to increase your you know, your INR, or one of the things they talk about in terms of your bleeding time. You know, I'll be curious, you know, what they're taking that blood thinner for. If they have heart history or a history of forming clots, you know, typically most people aren't on blood thinners lifelong. Some are if it's a cardiac issue, but again, don't be afraid to take these products just because you're on a blood thinner. So, speaking of that, somebody had posed a question the other night about antidepressants, and that was a big deal because somebody was having a difficulty with sleeping. Antidepressants are, depending on which one, they're notorious for interrupting REM sleep and slow wave sleep or deep sleep, particularly fluoxetine, and that was one of the medications that that person had mentioned. And there are studies that actually show utilizing sleep aids in conjunction with fluoxetine, and actually showed a benefit of helping people restore their REM cycle sleep and their slow wave sleep or deep sleep. And so I would encourage that person to stick with the Your Slumber Party product, uh, even though they're on the fluoxetine. Generally, those antidepressants initially interrupt sleep, but over time, their body will adjust to that. So I don't know if they just started taking that product or if they've been on it for years. If they have been on it for years, they may consider having them switched off of that and onto something else. That's a tough call on those because the antidepressants can wreak havoc on a number of things. A lot of the chemicals that the brain releases, such as serotonin, and those are all things that are going to potentially impact the quality of sleep that you get. So try that slumber party for a couple of weeks in addition to being on the fluoxetine or whatever antidepressant you're on. Again, it's not going to interact with the medication. It's not going to potentiate the medication or make the medication more powerful. If anything, it's going to help neutralize that and allow you to actually get much needed sleep that we all need. Because if you're not sleeping, you're not getting quality sleep. Your body's not able to do a lot of the things that it's intended to do while we sleep, and that is the point of sleep, is to allow your body to do those reparative processes while we're sleeping.
Okay, cool. We'll do a couple more specifics, but I want to do a broad one real quick. I was talking to Chris about how I don't have any pains or necessarily any ailments, but I've felt better taking the product. And one of the things that I'm excited about that I can't see right now are the neurological benefits. So I know that's a long-term thing that I'm going to have, that I can't necessarily see today. Will you talk about what is MitoPrime? How does that help with the neurological benefits?
Well, not so much MitoPrime, but I can certainly talk about the products as a whole with all of the B vitamins that are in there. B vitamins are a key to our neurological health as well as our immune system, but B vitamins are most important with regard to our neurological system. Now, MitoPrime thrown in there with that, again, a lot of the conditions that involve nerve problems are because of some inflammatory condition that arose or some injury to a particular site. One young lady who I also gave some samples to on Friday, and I sent the product review over to Chris. She sent me like an entire spreadsheet on her experience with this, and I was kind of blown away. I think Chris was too. But one of the things that she had talked about having issues with was lower back pain, and that ails so many of us, particularly as we get older. And again, most back pain is caused from inflammation in and around the lower back. L3, L4, L5, S1 area, that's the lower back region that most people contend with because we get spinal stenosis or we get, a disc that's bulging or even a ruptured disc. And anything that's out of place like that is going to cause an inflammatory response. And so, again, it's very easy, but she noted a significant improvement of her lower back pain just, again, from 3 days of the product. She, too, is going to be ordering this product just to give it a good try and try for 30, as I tell everybody, try for 30 or 60 days and then give yourself a true evaluation after that amount of time. 3 to 5 days, you might see changes in some of those things, but it's not a real good true assessment of what this product is capable of doing because, again, you're going to get a compounded effect if you're on this product for longer because inflammation, it's a process, just like when we take antibiotics. That's the reason why we often have to take them for a full 7 days, even though we may feel better after 3 or 4 days. There still is some lingering bacteria around, and that's the point of taking an antibiotic until its completion. Same thing for an anti-inflammatory. Okay, if you don't completely eliminate that inflammation and you stop whatever it is that was providing that relief, that inflammation is going to flare up again and your pain is going to return. So get this product on board, stay on it, and allow that inflammation to settle out completely. And I think if you do that, then all we got to do is maintain. It sure is a lot easier to maintain than it is to treat from the very beginning. So hope that helps answer the question.
Yeah, and kind of along those lines, I have someone, they're asking, can a child age 10 use this? And I also was on the phone with a customer earlier, and he said, I'm a big guy, over 6 foot, 300 pounds. So as far as dosage wise, I'm guessing kids are going to give less, and then me and a full grown man, are we going to take the same size, or how do you recommend that?
The answer is yes. Any age can take this full spectrum product. However, a guy that's 2 people, in many cases, would they benefit from taking twice the product? I doubt it very seriously. And addressing each of the body systems that these products address, I doubt very seriously that the guy's going to need to take twice as much, or 1.5 doses to get the same efficacy in these products. Likewise with a youngster or a toddler, I would say if they're 4 and above, they could probably take full dose. If we're talking about a young child, I would say the only thing that I would be concerned about there is not the MitoPrime, but the B vitamins that are in this, that are at such high levels. You might try giving them just a half of that dosing to see how they react and see how they handle that. I know a lot of youngsters that are provided any form of glucose or sugar are bouncing off the walls. I would say just monitor the child with this product and see how they act. And but again, I know plenty of younger children that are on high doses of vitamin B and no negative side effects whatsoever. So it's completely safe. I would just say, have them test the product out at half strength and full strength and see how they do. But there's no harm in full dose.
Okay, perfect. So I do rapid fire for a few of these. We're getting to the top of the hour here. So I'll go. Someone was asking, the person takes heart meds. Is there something they should be aware of for someone that's on heart medication?
No, this is probably going to potentiate some of the heart meds, particularly when we're talking about blood pressure medication. A lot of the reasons we have hypertension, there's a couple of different types of hypertension that are out there. Hypertension usually occurs from constriction of the blood vessels, too much pressure on the walls of those blood vessels. Some of it's related to inflammation. When we're in pain, our blood pressure goes up, right? So you have to kind of dig in a little bit when it comes to blood pressure and figure out what's the cause of the blood pressure. If it's just essential hypertension or something that's hereditary, I can tell you personally that I'm on a blood pressure medication, and I've already seen about a 5-point drop across the board on my numbers just from being on the product for 2 weeks. So I'm kind of eager to see if I may be able to reduce my blood pressure medication to maybe a half dose, or at some point even come off altogether. Interestingly, there are studies that show that if we lost, 5% of our body weight, that you'll drop your blood pressure by 5 to 10%. So I can also tell you that over the weekend, just from being on the Your Vitality and the sleep aid, that I've lost 4 pounds over the weekend for no particular reason. I don't really struggle with weight, but occasionally I look down at the waistline and wish I could lose about 5 to 10 pounds. And just over the weekend, I lost 4 pounds, and I'm really not sure why. The only thing I've done different is taking the Your Vitality and the Slumber Party product. Interestingly too, though, if you're getting a good night's rest and your body again is able to address some necessary things, you'd be surprised how good quality sleep can allow your body to lose weight. A lot of people that have sleep apnea end up gaining weight because their body just isn't, processing oxygen efficiently at night while they sleep, and that can lead to a number of problems, heart problems, obesity, and that can turn into hypertension and diabetes and all kinds of bad things. So sleeping well is important, so take your Slumber Party nightly, and I think you guys are going to just see some change over time that you didn't even realize could happen.
That's awesome. All those dreams too.
Yeah.
So here's a question with the Physique Enhancer. There's people losing weight and they're not necessarily changing everything. There's not going to the gym. And so this person's asking, what is causing them to lose weight? Are they using the restroom more? How's the fat percent going down was the question.
Well, I guess if you use the bathroom a lot more, you might lose some weight. But no, there's a couple of key ingredients in our physique enhancer that kind of acts as an appetite suppressant. One of those key ingredients is something called Garcinia cambogia. It was a real popular weight loss supplement. Gosh, probably 10 or 15 years ago now. It might have even been 20 years ago that I heard a lot about. And so that certainly functions as an appetite suppressant. It kind of influences the body chemistries to help you burn calories easier, but also, it's going to help kind of deter the appetite a little bit. There's another ingredient in the physique enhancer called synephrine. For many of you who have heard of the supplement maybe 10 years ago called ephedra, it's kind of a step off from that. However, ephedra was banned from the marketplace because of heart issues and things that people were having side effects from. And interesting thing though is with this product, synephrine, because it's kind of a step off, you don't have the nasty side effects that you had with the ephedra product. But again, this functions as an appetite suppressant. I caution people, you're going to lose weight if you don't eat. So you need to eat. You just need to be a little bit smarter about how you eat or what you eat. One of the things that I think you'll find though from this product is you probably won't have the bad cravings that you once had. And we talk about the Year Vitality with Chris seeing amazing glucose control and glucose levels. And I bring that up because one of the reasons that we have cravings is if our blood sugar drops too low. One of the things our gut, again, coming back to the gut, our gut tells our brain we need something to eat and we need it now because we're feeling the effects of that low blood sugar. So if your blood sugar is sustained and maintains that homeostasis, one of my favorite words, you're going to be less likely to have those bad cravings for carbs or for sweets, and that's going to help you sustain that energy level and not have those bad cravings, and therefore you're going to probably lose weight. You're not going to reach for that Coca-Cola or that donut or whatever it is that you typically crave in the evenings or midday or at night to kind of satisfy that little craving. So you're going to reduce those cravings.
That's awesome. Can we keep you a couple more minutes? There's a couple more.
Yeah,
okay, we'll try to fire through some of these. Someone was asking how good effective they're on chemotherapy. How could this affect?
Yeah, that's tricky. Chemotherapy is poison to the body, and so I try not to step on the toes of a lot of the oncologists that are out there. There are a lot of experimental oncology drugs out there, protocols. I used to work at MD Anderson Cancer Center where I saw cancer every day, and I worked out there for 6 years. And so it taught me a little bit about, cancer and how to research that as well. There's a lot of experimental chemotherapy drugs, and I would be cautious and just say, there's absolutely nothing at all that these products are going to be harmful, even with the chemotherapy drugs, but I would still run it by your oncologist and make sure that they're comfortable with it. If we see some changes, with outcomes or prognosis for somebody that has cancer or had cancer, we don't want to create a new question mark for that oncologist, try to figure out, was there something that influenced this? So just run that by your oncologist and make sure that they truly look at those ingredients. Most of them will. There are some doctors that don't want to take the time to research some of the ingredients in these products. It's time consuming. I've been researching these products for, about a month and a half now. So it can be time consuming, and I know they just don't have that time. So, but encourage them to look at some of the ingredients. And generally speaking, most of these ingredients are natural or they're vitamins. And I don't see any reason why they would, not allow you to take these products, but just run it by them and make sure that they're comfortable with that.
Okay. If you're allergic to penicillin, could that be a problem?
No, don't worry about that. I'm allergic to penicillin.
Okay. It would take in a probiotic with this, is that redundant?
No, it's not redundant. It's not redundant. Probiotics do something a little different to help keep the gut healthy. Again, the probiotics are, pro meaning something positive. You're giving your body some positive things for your gut to keep those healthy bacteria healthy. So this is a little different. Maybe one day we'll have something around that as well. I'm certainly hopeful, but that would be an easy product to develop. And gosh, I can only imagine a probot that has 30 milligrams of ergothioneine in it. I think we're going to do wonders for our gut health just with something that simple.
That's awesome. Okay, so we'll round it up, maybe look one or two more. Could it have any effect on MS? Could this help?
Multiple sclerosis. That's an autoimmune condition that is difficult to deal with. A lot of those patients become, very desperate over the years because this can be a fairly debilitating condition to live with. It's painful. Again, it kind of boils down to some inflammatory responses as well. Try it. It's certainly not going to harm you. I would be very interested in hearing a testimonial for somebody that's taken your vitality and see if they notice changes in MS. It's probably going to take 30 to 60 days or longer to see those changes. But my previous sister-in-law has MS, and this is something that I've already reached out to her about. She has she's a traditional Western medicine type girl that doesn't believe in supplements and doesn't believe in nutraceuticals. She believes the cure to everything is with the pharmaceuticals. So it's hard to convince some of those people because this is something that they've lived with for years. And once they find something that works, they're often very reluctant to try something different.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll do one last question here. Let's see. Someone is asking, we'll say someone that's live here. Their daughter takes seizure medicine, Keppra. So is it the same if someone's taking medication like that we don't have any known things that it's going to affect?
Right, same thing. Again, we don't know of this interacting with any medication. If anything, it might potentiate it. So remember that, meaning it might make the medication more effective. So if anything, they might have to dose down on a particular medication. Those are things to look out for. This may be no different. I don't have any personal experience prescribing that medication to anyone ever. So I can't give, a full expert piece of advice on that, but I would say just monitor the individual and see how they do. They may just find that they're able to cut doses in half. And that's very common with a lot of nutraceuticals, actually.
Cool. All right, let's ask the third time, fibromyalgia. And
Yeah.
we'll end with this one. How could this help or affect fibromyalgia?
So, fibromyalgia is also multifactorial. They're still doing lots and lots and lots of research with fibromyalgia. Another previous sister-in-law, not on my side, not on my brother's side, she had fibromyalgia, and again, that can be a very debilitating condition to have to live with. They often reach for anything and everything to provide relief. Generally, it involves multiple joints that are achy or sore, and again, what's making those joints achy and sore is inflammation. So I would say that the Your Vitality would probably absolutely work wonders for these people. Again, you're going to need to give it some time to take effect, but there's still a lot of mystery involving fibromyalgia that we haven't quite figured out yet. So we don't know the exact mechanism of action and how that is triggered, but we do know it's out there, and we do know that it affects thousands of people. So try the product, and my guess is that, I would certainly bet money on it that they would notice a significant improvement with just the Your Vitality product.
Awesome. Thank you again for your time. I just want to end with, so I've heard you're giving it out to people in your clinic and all that. Knowing what you have your hands on, how excited are you to enroll new champions to help get this out to more people? Yeah,
so it's kind of easy for me to share the product because I do the business while I'm doing my business. And that's something that's easy for me to bring the topic up. I also have some nice follow-up with all my patients because they see me very, very often. But I like to say, even if you're not a medical professional, just share the product with people that who are hurting. We all know somebody that has arthritis. We all know somebody that has hypertension. those are the people that are going to be your customers. They might even decide that if you tell them that there's an income stream behind this, they might even become a champion with you. So I've enrolled 6 champions in 2 weeks. I've got 3 customers with probably a 4th coming on board. But I'm excited because this is something that can just not only help my patients get healthy or stay healthy. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about too. We often run into people that say, well, I'm healthy, or I already take this or that. And I often tell them, well, that's awesome. Why don't you want to stay that way? And I have just a product that's going to do that for you. So keep them healthy or make them healthy. Either way, this is still a good product. But the income stream, also I'm very excited about. I've always tried to diversify my income. I own a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but one of my goals before I die is to have 7 different streams of income coming in, and this just added the 7th. So there's a lot of great things that this company is doing. I guarantee there's going to be a lot of great things that we haven't even seen yet. I'm pretty good about wearing a poker face, but it's hard to with this product and this company. I know Chris personally, and he's putting his heart into this, and it shows. And what we're seeing from these products is delivering as promised. And gosh, I think everybody on the planet ought to be on MitoPrime, and it's that simple.
Beautifully said. I think that's a great ending. Everybody on the planet should be on our product. So we'll leave with that. Thank you again. We really appreciate your time. And every Tuesday we can tune in here and we will get more info. And so thank you, John. I appreciate it.
All right, guys.